Hi all, welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about a hack to refresh a component in reactjs app built with TypeScript. So this is the title of my latest blog post, and in this one I'm just talking about how to refresh a component in react.js app. Anyway, before I get into that, welcome to another video, and it's 11:18 p.m. right now in Sydney, and it's been a really good weekend, and it's been, when I say good, it's been eventful. I mean, yesterday I went up to this really nice, very remote place, and it was great. I mean, I totally moved there. It was so peaceful and so surreal. It was in the countryside of New South Wales, Australia. This is New South Wales is a state where Sydney City is, and which is where I live. So I did go and check out this new place in the countryside yesterday, and it was fantastic. I loved it. I'd move there in a heartbeat, 100%. Anyway, so hope you're all great, and right, so let's get on with the topic of this video. And in this video, the topic is, as mentioned, refreshing a component in reactjs app, in an app in reactjs. Okay, so the app that I'm talking about is React TypeScript to-do list. This is my open source repository on GitHub that I've been contributing code to for the last few months. And so there's two repositories. There's Node TypeScript CRUD nodes and React TypeScript to-do list. Now both of these apps are on GitHub, and I'll share a link to them in the description of this video. And they are both linked in that they are both deployed on AWS, such that the front end is deployed on AWS S3, which is the React TypeScript to-do list, and the back end is just deployed on Elastic Beanstalk. That is the Node TypeScript CRUD nodes. It's a NodeJS Express backend with TypeScript. Both these apps are written in TypeScript. Anyway, so talking about the React TypeScript to-do list. Now the app, when I first built it, I built it using app MUI, and it was working great. I mean, for storage, I was using Node local storage, which essentially creates a file in on system. So if you deploy it on S3, it will create a little file, and it will write to that file. It'll write data to that file. That's the storage mechanism. So that was the first implementation of it, and the second implementation, the second version of it, I integrated that with the backend. So the backend, which is deployed on Elastic Beanstalk, that's the Node Express backend, which saves the data to DynamoDB on AWS. Okay, so when I integrated that with the backend in the second version of the React TypeScript to-do list, when I started, as day by day, I converted to a more real product, in that I do the integration. So both of these apps is built using the very modern microservices architecture. They're both independently deployed. Anyway, so when I started integrating the React TypeScript to-do list with the backend, I started to notice a couple of problems. And a couple of problems, I mean that adding to-do, editing to-do, all of these would work as expected, but while deleting a to-do and marking a to-do done in the list, that would not work as expected. I mean, it would, every time you click the checkbox to mark a to-do done, or you click delete icon to delete the to-do, it would do so, but it wouldn't refresh the list that you see on the screen. So that it would successfully call the database. It would call the endpoint, the endpoint on Elastic Beanstalk. It would call that, but it wouldn't refresh the list. So what you're seeing as a user is the same old data. It hasn't refreshed. So I thought about this for a little bit, and I couldn't find the most elegant solution. So for the sake of time, I built kind of like a hack, And what that is, that I added another state variable. So the state variable was I just added a boolean like trigger update, and every time you delete a to-do or mark a to-do done, it would just modify the state of that variable. So it's a trigger update and set trigger update. So it uses the React hooks, the React.use state, and that's what it would do. Why did I come up with this solution? Because when I click the checkbox or click the delete icon, it would delete the to-do on the database, but it wouldn't reflect on screen. But I noticed that after I do those actions, if I press and if I enter a character in the text box, which would trigger an event, that would refresh the list for the changes. So I thought that maybe it's just that the way I'm changing the state in those update and delete methods, maybe I'm not doing it very elegantly, or I'm not doing it the right way, the way I'm supposed to be doing. But given that entering a character in that text box is refreshing the list, I thought that maybe it's just a matter of me adding another variable to another state variable and then just modifying the state of it. So it's called trigger update, and it's a boolean, and it would just modify that state every time one of these methods are called for delete or mark to do done, and then it would just refresh the list that the user sees, and it would just work. I'll share a link to that blog post in the description of this video. And also, while you're here, go check out my repositories, the React TypeScript tutor list and the Node TypeScript CRUD notes on GitHub. And if you'd like to support me, give it a star. Like it, start that repository, fork it. If you feel like you can add something to it, please do so. If you feel like you've got a more elegant solution to what I just talked about, please, you're welcome to either leave a comment on this video, or if you can, create an issue in the GitHub repository, or fork the repository and then create a PR and create a pull request. So I'm happy to review it and update it. So as I said, so open source, we all work together and we get smarter together. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this video, and thank you for watching, and I'll share a link to everything that I talked about in the description of this video. And until next time, I wish you well and live long and prosper.